He was one of the original founders of the inner city firm. Put your hands together for Mr. Andy Swallow.
So we'd go over the ground, look through and, make out we was Bobby Moore or whatever.
I take it, being born around Upton Park, there was no other club.
The area that you lived in is the team you support. Canning Town Snipers, the Hornchurch Mafia, the Magic Roundabout crew. We was a lot of little gangs that become one big gang.
Who come up with the name?
There's three versions.
But go with your one if you're on this show. Yeah.
We stood for about a year in the South Bank shouting out ICF and everybody never had a clue.
I was the leader of the ICF. I set the firm up. It was all me.
I never seen none of them on the trial with me though. I took a plane over 189. 159 of us got arrested. There's about 200 Millwall on their way down. They know you're here. What about all the other West Hamers? Right. I know it's you. Going to Brands Hatch with Sunrise, Back to the Future, the big barn thing that you always see. So I did Top the Pops. Then started doing all the shows. Then all of a sudden, Artful Dodger had Ramina Johnson Moving Too Fast. Craig had filled me in, and I think they went number one and number two. Be true to yourself. Don't let people tell you can't do. Watch your back.
88.3 Centerforce.
Gotcha.
Make sure you tune in. Welcome back to season 3 of the Criminal Connection podcast. I want to say a massive thank you to all our season 3 sponsors. We love you. Big thanks to our sponsor, IME. This global tech outfit ain't messing about. They've got these slick video interviews that have you connecting like there's no tomorrow. Whether you're running a business, running the streets, or doing your own thing. Perfect for those in marketing, recruitment, admissions, and even for auditions. And their platform, smooth as silk, designed with you lot in mind. IME's the ticket to making those connections count. A big thanks to Wildcrest Events for sponsoring the show. From adrenaline pumping sporting events to chart topping sensations, Wildcrest Events have them all. Make sure you drop them a line down below. And if you put in CCP5 off, you will get a 5% discount. Now that's a proper good deal. VIP Security Services have been established for 35 years. VIP Security offers a personal security service to escort you, your family and your friends, whether on business or out for the evening. Protect what's important to you. We're watching you while others are watching us. Prevention is always better than the cure. You're in safe hands. Security solutions across Essex, London and the home counties. This episode is brought to you by Mark Oliver Bespoke Tailors. Now let me tell you, Mark Oliver is one of the best tailors in Savile Row. All of their products are made in Milan. I've had my suits made there for over a decade and I swear by them. Mark Oliver brings together the classic Savile Row sharpness with the contemporary cut and style of Italy's leading tailoring houses. Available by appointment only in London's Savile Row. Mark Oliver's award-winning luxury service is the best there is. So go on. Treat yourself to a luxury bit of tailoring. I want to say a big thank you to our sponsors, HDB Services, who stand out as a beacon of innovation and quality. They're continually pushing the boundaries to redefine services in the industry. They specialise in mechanical and electrical maintenance and fabric works. HDB Services are famous for their attention to detail and their outstanding quality of work. With a keen focus on sustainability and efficiency, HDB Services are dedicated to offering world-class and cost-effective solutions that ensure the longevity and optimal performance in the built environment. The company's team of highly skilled professionals are adept at navigating highly complex projects, emphasising preventative maintenance and quick responses to ensure minimal downtime and maximum client satisfaction. They have offices in the North, West, Midlands, Bedfordshire and London. So if you'd like to find out about any of our fabulous sponsors, make sure you check out the links in the description below. Welcome back to the Criminal Connection podcast. My name's Terry Stone, and today we are joined with a legend from the terraces. He was a well-known football hooligan. He was one of the original founders of the inner city firm. He's a record label owner, an entrepreneur, a rave promoter. He's been there, seen it, done it, and he's got the West Ham t-shirt. Please put your hands together for Mr. Andy Swallow.
There you go, I'm in. How you, mate? You got it out in the end.
No, I did. I mean, you have to have a couple of goes at these. It's a mouthful, it's a mouthful.
A little bit camera shy was you there. I didn't fool that terrorist. I got that, having trouble with the word terrorist, was we? Yeah, good to see you.
Andy, thank you so much for coming on. And obviously, I know you've not done any podcasts.
No.
So I'm honoured to have you here. But I think for all the people that are watching and listening to this podcast, it'd be great to find a little bit about the real Andy Swallow, where you grew up, and what your life was like growing up.
East End boy, Upton Park. Spent most of my youth from a baby all the way through to about 16, 17 when my mum moved to Southend. She thought she'd get me out of the area, out of trouble, but I spent the whole of my life being brought up in the East End. 8, 9 years old, I was a barrow boy, which meant pulling out the barrows. I lived at the back of Upton Park Market. My dad left when I was about 8, so my mum brought me up. Got a sister, so she was about 8 years old. So, you know, over the years, the gap closes. You know, at first she was a pain. She's probably watching, laughing. But as I say, a hard life, brought up just by my mum. When the East End was the real East End. Not knocking it at the moment, but I'm talking about when everybody knew everybody and there was a street bobby to knock on the door all the time.
Right.
But a proper East End, yeah. So I come from the markets. I was a market trader.
Right.
Come from the real back streets of East London.
So you obviously learned to fight at a young age.
Yeah. I got beat up at a young age, probably. Yeah, I think at school, I don't know if you remember this at the time, we always brought up as boxing, you know.
Yeah.
The
Those
primary
were the good
school.
old days, yeah.
Yeah, primary school, they used to bring you up on box. I think it was about 9 or 10, you all fought. From there, I went on to West Ham Boxing Club, fought for Newham and that. So I was always around the fighting and then obviously moved onto the terraces.
And what, I take it, being born around Upton Park, there was no other club?
No, look, if you look historically, you know, I could name Victor Honest, Paul Woods, Gary Woods. One was QPR, one was Leeds, one was Man United. They were like aliens. Right. You know, you was an alien. If you wasn't West Ham, you come from where you there was no social media. We only knew West Ham.
Right.
Everybody was West Ham in my circle. Right. Oh, and Dave Kavanagh, who was Chelsea.
Right, okay.
Bless him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I brought in the days when...
So did you go from a young age to...
Yeah, I was going West Ham from 8, 9 years old.
Right, okay.
You know, my good recollections when I was about 10, sitting on the wall when Jeff Hurst missed a penalty, Gordon Banks in goal, League Cup. So I have good memories of being in the North Bank from around about 9, 10 years old. Yeah. Lots of it beforehand. I can remember going over the stadium playing because I lived at the back of the market. So where there wasn't houses or flats, it was little prefabs. So we'd go over the ground, look through and, you know, make out we was Bobby Moore or whatever.
Right.
So, so I was probably pretty much born into the West Ham way of life.
Right. So if anybody cut you, you'd actually bleed claret.
I've probably died now at my age. Listen, you was brought, the area that you lived in is the team you supported. And you've got to remember, TV, you didn't have much, you know, Match of the Day and a little bit on the Saturday and the Sunday. It wasn't on the radio. You didn't see it in the papers. You know, the only thing was just the sticker books. So realistically, where you come from, as I say, I could name the people today that didn't support West Ham. Right, they're still in my black book.
And obviously, when you was going to West Ham, obviously before the inner city firm was formed, was there violence at football then, or was?
Yeah, I think historically, if you look back, you know, the skinheads movement. You know, I was brought up on an era of the Mile End. You know, so I'd seen the Mile End and the TBF, the Teddy Bunter firm. As you know, I'm gonna argue what era that is, but my era, I came through with the skinheads, which was 69, 70, through to the Mile End, and then later years the City firm and the under fives, etc.
So what actually happened with because I remember in the 80s there was like an explosion of football violence, and then you had like the headhunters, you had obviously Millwall, you had
bushwhackers,
you had obviously the inner city firm, but what before the inner city firm was it not really organised?
No. I think if you take West Ham, you know, we're talking about West Ham because, you know, I'm not too knowledgeable on all the other firms. I know they are, but, you know, not our...
But a few scuffles with them over the years.
I've probably had a couple, but probably where that, you know, how they, you know, how the Gooners, the Herd got their name, I couldn't tell you. Right. You know, but I know all of a sudden the Herd appeared. You know, but for us, we was all a mixture of little firms. Canning Town Snipers, the Hornchurch Mafia. You had the Chads. You had us. We was the Essex East London firm. We was the Elf. You had the Magic Roundabout crew. You know,
I love that.
Yeah, and then you know, death. And what used to happen, you know, I'm talking 74, 75. We used to get on Lacey's coaches, and you know, this is before the M1. This is like we used to take like 5 days to get to Sunderland and back. So you get on a Lacey's coach, and the idea was to take the back seat. So the Magic Roundabout crew would fight with the Essex East London firm. So you know, on the way home, you used to, you know, interact rivalry. So, you know, the Canning Town Snipers, you know, the boys from Stratford, you know, there'd be loads of different firms. And then round about there was an argument of what date the Intercity firm formed and whatever. And then all of a sudden we become one firm on that day. Right. And then you'd go back to your own local little firms, you know, like Stratford and Canning Town, for instance. We would get on a train together. They'd all have black eyes and cuts where they'd been fighting at Moorose on Friday night. Get to Mile End Station. They would be one at one end, one at the other. Go to Newcastle away. Get back to Stratford at night and fight again. You know, so we was a lot of little gangs that become one big gang.
Got it. Yeah. So who come up with the name?
There's 3 versions. There's Mickey Ramsgate, myself, and Grant Fleming. We've both. I think Mickey's done something recently I see on a podcast.
Right.
His version. And I'm not even going to say my version's correct. My version sounds quite good, though. Right, I like my version.
But go with your one if you're on the show.
I'm not going to go.
The thing is, Anne, like, you know, when I got in the club scene, if I ever heard anything about, obviously, the City firm or anything like that, it was your name that I heard. It wasn't anybody else's.
I think I was the brightful colour that got the blame for it all.
Yeah.
You know.
You were the fun man.
Lucky there was no social media in them days. I don't think I would have been about. I got the blame for a lot of it, I think, with them. Right. So basically, my recollection, and I know Grant will say, oh no, but brilliant that he's got his own recollection, and I'd never question his. Right. But mine is, you know, we used to travel on the football specials. But what used to happen with these specials, they used to take so long to come home. So when you used to say, like, go to, say, Middlesbrough, you get the Doncaster, we used to jump on the city trains and come in. Right. So we sort of called ourselves the City Jibbers, where we was jibbing it on a train. Jibbing meaning not paying. Right. So we started off as the City Jibbers.
So, you're very bad, Annie, breaking the law like that.
Was it? I didn't even know.
Not paying for the train ticket.
I didn't even know I was allowed to take the pay. Well, I was going to say something, but I'm not on that. We'll cut to that one. So basically, we come along on that.
Yeah.
And then Purcell tickets come along, the Kellogg's, you know, the Jimmy Savile, I'm not mentioning, but, you know, all them tickets come along where you under 16s could travel free with an adult too. Right. So we should turn up with you know, my mum, poor guy.
Don't tell me you was dressed up in your school uniform.
I was going to tell you the wig on.
You had that wig on right at the foot sole, didn't you?
Your wig. No, so basically from that was the start of people not paying to go on the special to go on that. And then we somehow we got a couple of books out of Benfleet train station. We got these books where you could write your names. So we used to write our own tickets out. And I'm look back now, like Newcastle, we used to write Benfleet to Newcastle, 11:26. Like, how much is it from Newcastle? You know. So from there, we became, we found this bag, well, Grant found this bag and it had the sign, and we said, well, the Intercity firm. And a few of us took to that name as the Intercity firm.
Yeah, well, it's a great name.
So from that, but we could have been the Intercity Jibbers. And at that time, you know, I can be corrected because, you know, I'm talking 1977, 70. We stood for about a year in the South Bank shouting out ICF, and everybody never had a clue. No one had a clue. I remember getting beaten up by the Mile End as well for doing it. So over the years, then everybody become a member on that day of the Intercity firm.
I definitely think the Intercity firm or the ICF, but I mean, you know, everybody, you know, they was probably, even though, you know, people talk about the headhunters and this and the other, I think they were probably the prominent firm that everyone knew about.
I think what happened was my view of it, you know, and it's important. It's always, I've heard all the different stories, was we was probably the one with the first name. I don't remember headhunters before. Right. I remember the North Stand having a thing. I don't remember the Gooners I heard. I don't even remember Tottenham's name at the time. I knew of the Tottenham firm, but not of, you know, at the moment they called themselves the Yid Army or whatever. I don't remember. I could name all their firm, their boys that they used to go. They had quite a good firm, all of them. You know, Arsenal, never really had a name that I know of.
Right.
But I think we was the prominent one that came with the City firm.
Yeah.
And from there, you see the different firms come around. So I'd like to say we was probably the first.
Right.
But as you say, you've got to remember, no social media.
Right.
Nowhere to comparison from, but we did travel. Okay, let's just rephrase. Cockney Reds, they was about forever and a day. So, Banana Bob and all them. So you could say that the Cockney Reds come out first and we come out second, but they only had a name attached to where they come from.
Right.
As a firm, I'd say we was one of the first.
So where was the Cockney Reds? What team were they?
Man United.
Oh, they're Man United. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Being Reds, Manchester, and all coming from London, meeting up in Euston and going.
I mean, obviously, when I think if you fast forward now, well, probably in the past sort of 20 years, obviously, there's been lots of people that come out and said, I was the leader of the ICF. I set the firm up. It was all me, and I was the top boy. And obviously, all these people are obviously dining out on the ICF, and obviously what happened over those years. I
never seen none of them on the trial with me though.
Right, that's what I mean.
Well, I sat there and was looking at number 1 and number 2. I'd never see them standing next to me, so maybe the judge had the wrong person in court. Maybe that's the wrong one was in court for that.
But when obviously when it was first founded, and to me, obviously your name, Rick Dark, Danny Harrison, I can't remember the guy you mentioned.
Andy Russ, Scully,
Andy
all
Russ,
them boys.
So all
Taffy.
those guys, they I mean, was it sort of Father Tennier that was the sort
of
main
what?
call?
It's really mad. I'd always say this about West Ham. People say, "Oh, you was one of the leaders. You was this." You can't lead an unruly mob, right? And you got to remember, there were so many people, great characters. From the Chads, from the boys that were like dropping supplies into the Falklands when my aunt was, just by chance, my mate was dropping supply. There were some great characters from all different firms.
Yeah.
But there were certain people that would be not so much good at fighting, but turn around and say, look, listen, when we used to go to football, it was so crude. I can remember walking out of the ground, walking down Green Street, going to say, like, Mick, see you at the 9 o'clock Euston, see you at the 9 o'clock Euston, 9 o'clock Euston. I never even had a telephone. And just by walking down the road going, we're all on the 9 o'clock, it was as crude as that,
right? If
that made sense. But it became as organised as that, because down the line, what put everyone, social media, phone, but it was as much as walking down. As I say, I never had a telephone. So if I missed that meet at 9 o'clock, I was buggered.
Right.
So, and everybody knew you'd be at Mile End Station, 8:30, and if you wasn't there at 8:30, that train's gone. You've missed it. It was
and I suppose it was really, like you said, there wasn't really, like, you didn't get anointed to be the leader, but there was like an organised football hooligan firm, and there was obviously the founders of the top boys, or the people that people looked up to.
Look, and
obviously the ones that could fight, people looked up to, right?
Yeah, the ones that could. Luckily, I stood next to them. I stood next to the ones that could fight. No, look, it's like it's like anything, when you're talking about firms and whatever, you all have your peers.
Right.
It doesn't matter whether you come from you're talking about underworld, if you're talking about, you've all got your peers, you've all got your levels. Yeah. And back in those days, I learned so quickly when we got slapped by the Mile End that you learn who your peers are. Yeah. It was a funny story recently. I was in the Docklands, had a flat there. Went to the laundry downstairs, and as I walk in, fella, it's got the name, he looked, it said, Andy Swallow. I thought, here we go. He goes, you Andy Swallow? I went, yeah. He said, my firm's bigger than your firm. And I thought, here we go. I actually thought Millwall come straight to my head because, like, I thought, here we go.
I thought you just said something like, where's your fucking tool?
So I looked at him, I went, oh, go on then. He went, nah. He said, I'm Mile End. I went, I'll make you 100% right. Right. It was brilliant. It was a really Malian moments of like, he went, no, we're the Mile End. I went, yeah, I'll make you 100% right.
Yeah.
They were the godfathers of our era at that time. Yeah. And I take me out to them.
And who were the sort of top boys in that?
There was...
At the time, I mean, it's 40 years ago, wasn't it? 50 years ago?
Well, yeah, but you could argue with them because you had Jay Williams and all them. They were some good boys there. They was a unique thing because they had their own area. You come from that area and you was with them. They had a little few breakaways, but, there was some good stuff there. There was some good... And I took slack from them.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that when you learned to duck?
Yeah. I learned not to pick on their younger brothers or cousins quite quickly.
And obviously, the inner city firm, obviously, it was all over the papers. It become, notorious. And I mean, when you actually went and had a fight with an opposing team, was it organised, or was it literally like we turn up and we're just going to find them and fucking give them a good hiding, or was it like when they come down here,
get a good hiding?
Yeah, but they come down here and do the same thing, or was it more organised than that?
I think, look, my early recollection, I'm talking right through the early days. No one really come to West Ham. No one really. London teams, there'd be more of because they're in London. But if you take your Man Uniteds out, there weren't many teams that travelled, not to West Ham. The 80s, there was a few more, because I'm talking early days. There's some early incidents with the Man United. So when I was brought up on taking people's ends,
right.
So for you to win on the day, you took their end. You went in their end.
Right.
Yeah. If you look at it, later on in the years, you've got a result because you're 5 miles away in someone's pub. I don't get that. I didn't get that. So I understand now it's to do with you can't get to people's ends. It's all tickets. It's I get that. Right. But I'm brought up on a different era.
So your era was literally
take their end.
They're in there. We're fucking going in there.
We're going to take their end. That's it. I remember being 78 when the Intercity firm was first formed, and the idea was we take the old end.
Right.
And there was about 100 of us. We were all under 18, and we run the old end out. And I'm not. It's stamped in history anyway. But I do remember getting. It's a big end. I was 22,000. I remember getting right to the bottom, looking back, thinking, "Oh shit, there ain't that many of us. It's time to get out." But those were the days I was brought up on. You went in people's ends. That was it. And then over the years, I suppose it just evolved into. I'd probably say the fights at football in the later years were very few.
But when it was all really kicking off,
yeah,
like you said, the Man United firm was a force
was a big
firm
firm, big firm.
Yeah. And who were the other ones?
Well, put it this way, for me personally, someone like Luton, I always come unstuck at Luton. I always come unstuck at Stoke. That was me. I was like, don't come with me here. Or if I walked out at Arsenal, I'd always end up on my own, walking down. I bumped into a few of them. Who are you with? I used to make it up with everybody. Right. I start talking to everyone around me. They must feel that's his firm.
Peace, yeah. I just love football.
Do you want chips? But no, Middlesbrough, hard place to go. A hard place to go. Right. And
I mean, that's like the hood, though, isn't it?
I remember. But then I remember going in the side when I was with the TBF and. It's like the end of the mile in, not say the end, but the crossover between them and Bill and Ted. I went in the side and I thought, with all the big ones, and Leicester came in. I was thinking, crikey, lucky I'm little. They don't want me. But there's them hard plays, Cardiff, night game, horrible place to go. I could name, they all had their,
Right.
And then, my favourite team of all, Millwall.
Yeah.
That's no walk in the park.
Why do West Ham and Millwall hate each other so much?
Dockers.
Right.
We're saying that they stepped across the picket line, and our grandfather. But my grandparents, they would not have nothing to do with South London. They say they were scabs. They crossed the picket line. They probably say that nowadays they didn't. And this is a Dockers thing. You've got two Dockers sides. And don't forget, they started off in East London.
But I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're East London. Yeah, they was on our side, and then went back to onto South Side. They was, they're from East London.
And at your sort of time, on the terraces, what would you say that is a worst sort of football violence you've either seen or witnessed or been involved in?
Oh, I don't know. I've been around a lot. Probably when we went to the Italian mob, were they Palermo?
Right.
That was a tough night in Palermo. We took 3 planes. I took my first plane in. And I had the others coming the next days. I remember taking the first day. We went on a 2-day trip. So we've gone in and we don't know. So we're in this part where they are. It just went, I took a plane of a 189. 159 of us got arrested with 22 in court. That's just from the first plane. That's just from plane 1. And there's a funny moment. I have to laugh. Jimmy, I remember seeing Jimmy, and you remember Jimmy from back in the Labella day. Jimmy and his nephew, when it all started, they went running down this side bit. So I thought, I wonder where they've gone. So I'm around. Next minute, they come out with a load of people chasing them. It's like Lola Keystone Cop. They've run down chasing them, and they've come out being chased. Yeah, Palermo was probably a thing. People will turn around and, you go back to the Millwall, the couple of night games in the 70s and that, tough places to go. Yeah,
right.
Probably, Millwall's back in the day. But as I say, I've been caught out places like Luton and yeah. I think everybody in them days had their old crew. Lincoln away. I remember we went to Lincoln. I was lucky because I was with our own little firm, but a lot of West Ham come unstuck that night.
Right.
Some places where you wouldn't have thought, but yeah.
And was with these things where it's all kicking off. Was it mainly just like fisticuffs, or was there like blades?
No, there's a lot of blades. Yeah, mate. Right. Yeah, I remember when Everton come, they cut me straight down my back. I was lucky with a Stanley knife. And I had one of them Adidas coats, you had the thing in the middle.
But he was more pissed about your coat than you getting your
I didn't know until I went home and Mum whacked me. We done to your coat.
Done your coat.
With a white fleur fluff coming out. Yeah, no, back in them days, there was quite a lot of people went with the Stanley knife, and people, you'd like to say it was all fisticuffs, but not in the early days.
Because a couple of people, I know that the Stanley knife was a
you
thing.
You didn't want to get caught in Liverpool or whatever.
But it was also the newspaper. That was a good one.
We used to call it the Millwall brick at the time. You get it and fold it in half. The umbrella, you're taking the old umbrella with you, the small umbrella. On a bright sunny day, didn't work out, did it? Nowadays, people walk around with the sun with an umbrella. For then you say, what are you doing with an umbrella? Yeah, the old Millwall
brick. Just worried it might rain.
Yeah. But you got the old Millwall brick, yeah. There's some tough areas. You got to remember, you're talking about football being working class.
Yeah.
It ain't working class no more.
Right.
It's now suited for top end of people, isn't it? I don't mean like top end of people, but I mean they target 50 quid, 80 quid, 90 quid.
It's also expensive to go now, isn't it? So,
too expensive.
So if you're working class, you probably ain't going to be able to afford.
No, but you think that was it was what was it, pound to get in, 50p, 20
good old
pence.
days.
Yeah, you look up the good old days. Give the geezer a pound on the door, you're all winning. So yeah, it's been taken away from the working class.
Yeah.
As such.
And when you obviously got arrested.
Yeah, which one?
Well, no.
What time? Was I arrested loads of times?
No, because there was it was really the first time you was arrested. Was that football violent related, or was that crime related when you first got nicked? Yeah, when you was doing the football stuff.
I was arrested when I was 13.
Right, okay, so that was the first time.
Football, yeah.
So you was
13,
actually getting in trouble then?
13, 15. Yeah, I was at the Old Bailey at 15.
Wow. And what was that for?
It's quite bad, really. We'd been out and we wanted to go to Germany. So it was 76. My mates decided we needed to get some money. So they started rolling people over. I had my money, so I wasn't. So I ended up in the thing for mugging.
Right.
So, wasn't the best thing to be done for, but was at the 15th. I remember going through Upton Park Market in the mornings, and so all my uncles are all storeholders and whatever. I said, where are you going, Pam? She goes, I'm taking him to court. That's a bit early, because Newham Court's only up the road. She went, oh no, he's going to the Old Bailey. Yeah. And then,
you don't fuck about, do you?
No, I might turn around and went, he's gone straight to the top. Yeah, so early days, and I think one of my last trials was at the Bailey.
And what happened? My
mates all got put away. They all got 6 months each. And to be fair to them, they all did turn around and say he was... I just ran away with them. I shouldn't,
Right.
I was at the top of my house. So, they all got put away for it. And I ended up... Yeah, we got sort of made look stupid in the school hall the next day.
Yeah.
It wasn't the best idea I'd done.
And then did when you said about when you got nicked for the football violence, and there was
a few of them.
Who was that? You and
I was on the intercity trial.
Was it so?
I did the intercity trial for 6 months.
Right.
Which was me, Cass.
That's
Bill
how long
Card.
it went on for.
Yeah, 6 months. Yeah. And then they realised what we said, we was fitted up.
Right.
And that's when the Chelsea and all the headhunters got off as well. 129 football-related incidents got dropped that day. We got off the next day.
So that was a little bit like what the Yanks were doing with the mob, where they had that like Rico thing. Yeah. But in England, they were like, we're doing the football again.
Yeah, well, off the back of our trial, you had the Birmingham 6 and the Guildford 4 got off as well.
Wow.
On the enzyme testing. It was a new form of testing, and it was found that falsified evidence. And we all walked. That was that one. The other one I did 3.5 years on trial for the bank, which was the Tottenham one. I did 3.5 years on trial for that one.
What was that? The bank?
Well, that was the one, the West Ham Tottenham game when
Got
we
it.
turned up at Tottenham, and I ended up on trial for 3.5 years. I ended up starting off looking at getting 18 months and nearly getting 7 because I ended up on jury nobbling and everything. I ended up on a totally different trial.
But you're not allowed to pay the jurors, don't you?
No, but we were just asking them, can you please help us out?
It's an envelope.
Well, no money. Can you help us? Yeah, so I ended up on. I've done 3 different trials on that one.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm probably one of the only people that's been done 3 times. I've done 3 hung juries. It's very unheard of that you get trialled 3 times for the same offence.
Right.
I was one of the lucky people who'd have done 3 times on the same offence.
Right. But you got not guilty every time.
Hung jury every time, yeah, which is not guilty.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're the Teflon Don of football.
Yeah, I'm hanging in there. And then I was done for the West, which was a mad one. I got done. I just remember we was playing Millwall. It was a funny story, really. I'm playing Millwall, one of the last times we played them. So I stayed at my flat in the Docklands. My daddy was there. So I was on a Friday morning, knocking on the door 6 o'clock in the morning. It's the old Bill. Yeah. Resting you're here for the West Ham, here for the Millwall. I said, what, you got a crystal ball? I said, the game's tomorrow. So what do you know? They done me for West Ham Dagenham, Millwall Dagenham.
Right.
Completely fitted up.
Do you think it was because they couldn't obviously get you, that they were just literally looking for any...
Do you know what? We're doing a documentary film about my life anyway, and Trevor, who's put it all together, it's called The Underdog and whatever, and he put something to, and he said to me something.
Why is he calling that? He should call you the big dog, no?
Well, I'm Dr. Daniel, so I'm not there. But he said something that probably made more sense to anything that why the police wouldn't let us run.
Right.
He said, if you think about it, Andy, at that time, you could pull 500, 1,000, 2,000 at a drop of an hat. You was a threat. You was a threat. So all of yous were a threat that you could pull gangs, groups of people, move them about so quickly. And at the time, you had the fact of moving over, and you had the strikes. And he said they didn't want the move like yous to be able to move that amount of people, which really is probably why we become a threat.
So that's probably obviously what I wanted to make an example of you and smack your bottom.
Yes, I could have done it an easier way, just asked. Yeah, so I think probably back in the top, that's probably a lot of the reasoning, yeah. We got signalled out a lot. And probably don't forget, when you've been on a big trial like we was on the City trial for 6 months, costing millions and millions of pounds, and then all the people get drummed out the police force, all the ones that was there all got drummed out for lying, falsifying evidence. The top copper got Reynolds, they all got drummed out the force. You rattle some feathers there.
Right.
Yeah, and they're never going to let that go. It doesn't matter who you are, they're not letting that run. So you've got to remember, we got off on a high-profile trial, 126 after, compensation 200 grand to the lot of the Chelsea, compensation to all our lot. They probably never forget on that.
And at that point, and did you sort of think, well, I should step back from this now because...
No, I went the next game.
Oh, well, okay.
I should have.
I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know if I actually this.
No, went straight back to West Ham. Yeah, I should. But you're right, I should have.
Right.
Yeah, because it's weird. The football in them days to the football of these days is not the same. It's not. You haven't got the social media. You haven't got the wind-ups. You haven't got... you've got you. I'm not blaming youth because you've got youngsters that come along. When we was younger, the youngsters were... You're always a part of tax of your firm.
Right.
Nowadays you've got a little mob that go over there and then we've never seen all that. Things changed. Football over the last 10 years, 15 years of violence and whatever, it's changed completely. It's completely different, and different people have different perspective on different things, if that makes sense. So I get that. It took me a long while to get my head around it. You had a youth firm running up there and having their own textbook fights up there, but because it always relates back to your firm.
Right.
But you have to have a cut-off point with your own firm that there is a time when you become too old for it. There's a time when you draw a line. The the Mile End had their day, the TBF, the City Firm had their day, so did the under fives. Right. And I think you've got to say that things have changed and you know.
You must have some funny stories from the football days, though.
Oh, there's
got to be a couple.
Yeah.
Share with us.
I suppose because there's so much that, you know, because I went abroad, you know, I used to follow England abroad. Yeah, but there were so many, because there's so many characters, you know.
Yeah.
There is so many characters, you know. I remember taking the coaches up to went to Swansea. We took 2 coaches, and coming back, for some reason we pull into Bristol. We ended up having a fight with a load of CB enthusiasts, and there was so many of them. I just remember all of a sudden someone saying, "How are you going to stop them?" And we pushed the pinball machine down the stairs, and I just see the geezers face. Like, oh, what the fuck is this? And the pinball straight down. And it's all started over someone bunking in the queue. You know, how can you have a fight? How can you get a football have a fight with a load of CB enthusiasts? You know, end up 2 days in Nick. And I remember that they wanted some bodies. And one of our lot, I think he put his hand up the thing. And it topped up that it had been done for burning down the school. And he said, "What did you give your name up for?" I thought they meant football violence. No, they meant anything. You know, back in the day, I suppose, you know, because no one really went guilty, did you? So, yeah, I've met some great characters in football. And nowadays, you know, back in the days, I wouldn't have many football friends who weren't West Ham.
Got it.
You know, I know all the firms now, you know, from your Tottenhams to your Arsenal to your Millwalls, you know, to Cardiff. And we all sit there and talk back. Listen, we all say that we were the best.
Right.
Because that's what you do.
Yeah.
But I always say, in my opinion, West Ham were the governors of them days. That's in my opinion.
Right.
But I do listen to the others. They do get in me, what about you? What about that? I just have to go deaf on their ones.
And the rave scene obviously kicked off 88.
87, 88.
Because when did Centerforce start? Was that around
89,
that time?
May 89.
Right, okay. And what was the reasoning to set up that station? Because was it just because you loved the music, or
no? Because we was shit DJs and couldn't get on anywhere else, so we set our own one up. No, it's like anything. I just remember, you know, I remember going out in 88, and my mates were all going out partying, Danny and all them, and I'm looking there thinking, oh, these crazy. You know what I mean? What they're doing. And then we were going out one night and someone just gave you a pill, and then that was the end of that. You know what I mean? Right. Then we was hooked, putting on our first parties.
Because somebody actually said, and it did make me laugh, they said, if you was in government at that time, and with all the football violence and all the aggro that was going on, all the strikes, if you'd have actually said, actually, we come up with this pill, we're going to give everyone, and it's going to make everyone happy and everyone love each other. And people actually said to me, you know, it was actually quite funny because I was 88, I was 17 then.
17,
right?
yeah.
So I was a kid, right? But I remember it happening. I remember reading about the Summer of Love. Yeah. And I think the first rave I went out to was probably 89. Probably one of yours.
Probably one. Well, look, you know, the difference of it is and not to all of them, because I remember like going to Down and Tavern, and I remember going once when Jacko and then Paul said, Andy, look, you know, do you mind leaving? There's about 200 Millwall on their way down. They know you're here. I said, well, what about the others? What about all the other West Ham that's in? Right. I know it's you. And you know, because you're here. They're not having it. So as much as we did travel, you know, I remember going to North London, bumping into Danny and all them and all the Arsenal boys. Yeah, and it was for the first time we actually came from outside of our manor and partied in fields, in derelict buildings. You know, and the one thing that always reminds me is all these parties never had toilets. So where did we go? God, where did we end up going? Because they never had toilets, they're warehouses. Right, so it's weird, isn't it? Now you put a party on now, you've got to make sure you've got 30 blocks of toilets. Yeah. You know, some girls, some boys. Them days, we've got a warehouse party. And this was the thing, we could manoeuvre 5 to 20,000 people, 30,000 people at the drop of an hat. That's a lot. That's some going. And that's probably where the government had their fears. Yeah, but the racing changed the culture, didn't it? Yeah. It was a whole culture change.
Because what was the event that you was involved in? Because you put on an event.
I did loads, yeah. Well, I did early days we did Pasha, which was not Pasha was in Pasha, but PHSHA. I spelt it wrong when I was so go read it, you know. I said I did actually take it from the club, funnily enough, but spelt it wrong. Right. So you know, we did loads. I did them down at where West Ham Football Stadium is now. That was my first big rave there.
Right.
We did Woodstock, 3 days in the field. We've done loads. We've done all over. I did a lot with Genesis. I did a lot with Tony Calls a Hater, which, you know, massive for our scene, Tony. Back to the Future, Sunrise as well, you know, massive. And it's mad. We've got a thing that where we did a party called Sunrise in 88, and Tony had even in his own admission, hadn't even come out with Sunrise.
Right.
So I still think my partner was with me, conned me and said I was doing it with Tony. I'm sure he did.
Right.
But no, because we did stuff with Tony.
Yeah.
As I say, massive in our scene. You know, the Roberts brothers and, you know, all them. Some great old venues, you know. I came through with Tarquin and all them, Biology, Genesis. You know, some great names.
Yeah.
Some great. You think of it, what we achieved without us knowing what we achieved is testament to today, really, because it's still thriving now.
I mean, I think for all the people that are listening or watching this podcast, and I know this sounds wanky, right?
Yeah.
And our dads said it to us, and their dads probably said it to us about we had the best time.
Yeah.
We really did.
Yeah.
Have the best time.
Look, I suppose I've experienced it, the drug scene in both eras. And listen, they could argue and say, well, look, we can put 1 million people in a venue. You know, you've got someone like, they've got these big venues now where they've got an incredible amount of people. I get that.
The only problem is though, everyone's filming it on their phones. No one's really present, are they?
I went and see Cole Cox, played in Tenerife about 1 year or 2 years ago. And I noticed this mad change. The only time they cheered is when someone put the smoke machine on. Okay. Or when Cole put his hands in the air, then they put the smoke machine on. And the rest of the time they stood there with their mobile phones, filming it.
It's mad.
And some geezer, he chatted me in the ear. I'm standing backstage, there's this part of it. Oh, I can't wait to see Cole. I can't wait. I've got about 20 minutes. I said, mate, if you couldn't have, you wanted to go and watch Cole, why didn't you go off and leave me alone? Because you've been in my ear for 20 minutes. He's nearly finished his set. You know, I said, it changed. You know what? I said this to Mr. C. I was on the stage. We did the Camden Pally.
That was a great venue.
Electric Ballroom, sorry.
Well, that was good as well.
Electric Ballroom. Yeah. And Mr. C did a surprise appearance for us with Danny. He came on. And I was talking to him and I said, it would never be the same, mate, will it? And do you know what he said to me? He said, it is in a different way because they still party, they're still in big numbers, their experience is slightly different. But going back to what you said, I don't think they could have experienced what we had. No. 20,000 people in a field.
I mean, it's just mad, wasn't it?
Not knowing. You know, I remember going to Lyd Airfield, Jay and them, you know, because they was the next one up. They're the 1991s. You out with Skelters and you think, you know, going to Brands Hatch with Sunrise, Back to the Future, the big barn thing that you always see. You know, to see all them. And you know what's mad as well? No mobile phones. Some have said them big things that didn't work or didn't pay the bill, look good. But we all never got lost. We all knew where each other was. You'd all end up in your bit ready to go home. I remember taking 2 coaches to that. Wow. So I don't think that they could experience that energy, what is this?
Because my experience of clubbing before, probably the same as yours, sticky carpets. There'd be like a slow dance section where you try and chat a girl up or, you know, try and, whatever. And then you might have a fight afterwards. And that was it. It ended at 2 o'clock.
Definitely had a fight afterwards. Or a burger and a fight, whichever way it was. It was definitely a fight somewhere in that night.
But then that's what I loved about the rave scene, because the first rave I went to, when I walked in, I was like, everyone's happy, there's no trouble, you know what I mean? The music,
I still remember to this day of me going to, not Spectrum, which was the 2 outside Future.
Right.
Yeah, there was Future. You had two there. And this is about 88, going into the side bit and walking in, and the energy, and everybody was dancing. And this is, go back to, you remember now, white people can't dance. That's what they say. You know,
but that's true in my case. I'm the fucking worst dancer ever.
No, did you know what? Once you had one of them little fellas, everyone could dance. It was even running on the spot mostly. But you know, like to see a whole, because I was brought up in blues clubs and reggae, so I was used to seeing, you know, not the white people dancers, and to see the whole place, energy, dancing or waving their arms around and whatever, was like, wow. And I was on a stag do some pop one of them pills, and the whole thing changed.
Yeah.
I'm not promoting drugs or whatever on that, but you know, we can't say we come from a rave scene and stood in the corner drinking water, because they know we're lying. So
all I had was water and lettuce. That's all I done.
Yeah, them trips were good though, weren't they? Yeah, but when you look back, it was a whole culture change. It was,
but it changed the world.
But you know what it's mad though, because I always say that. Then I look back and think, well, I was a punk, and that was a change.
Yeah.
You know, you got to remember, we rebelled, putting zips in our trousers and nicking my mum's collar, you know, the thing out the sink round my neck, and where's a washing bag, and I've got it on when the arms cut. And I used to cut my arms with them, you know, them hard blue washing bags. So I suppose I'm lucky to come through two cultures. I came through the punk scene. Then I was a mod, second generation mod. So I come from a punk and a mod, and then to see the rave culture. So I've seen three cultures. The mod one was big. The punk scene was massive.
Yeah.
That was like a whole change of direction, whether you was a punk, new romantic, whichever you wanted to go. And then so I've been lucky to see, and then obviously I was involved in the football side of it as well. So I've seen the clothing and the fashion in that as well.
Do you still go to football now? You still?
Yeah, I'm going tonight.
Right, amazing.
Yeah, I'm going to go tonight. I was out in Athens the other day. I was when I watched West Ham in Athens.
Yeah.
Hoping to go to Serbia, watch West Ham. It's not the same.
I went to West Ham, not their new ground.
Yeah.
I've been to the new ground.
Yeah.
But I went to the one before that as a guest of a mate of mine who's a Man City fan, and it was actually quite funny because I thought if it all comes on top here, they're not going to beat me up. He's away. But the Man City end, it was so small, and there were so many West. And I did actually think, if I was actually a Man City fan, I'd be
thinking, am I going to get out of here?
How the fuck am I going to get out of here alive?
Yeah.
You know,
especially the old stadium. Well, I think you got to remember though, you know, terraces came when the terraces went. The terraces at West Ham would have been a nightmare, because I remember going in the way end every week, getting in that corner. But I think football now, it's just changed. It's just evolved completely different. You know, like we're going tonight. You know, it's the same, but it's not, if that makes sense.
Right.
You know, of course I want West Ham to win, but it ain't the end, be all and end all.
Right,
you know what I mean? It's not the be end all of end of everything. But before it would be, I don't want to talk to no one. I'll kick the dog and the cat. Right. I'm not Zuma, the left, the centre back. You know, I don't. You know, like you think anything, get out. One of them sort of. You know, you didn't want to talk to anybody because you've lost.
I've got to say though, I think some of the songs, they just do me. Like, I think West Ham have got some great songs.
Yeah, they're just characters. I suppose the day of hit him on the head with a baseball bat has gone there, and it, you know, the good old beat him on the head with a baseball bat. But I think, look, there's some good characters in football. You know, I've seen them, I know them, but I just think it's now become a totally different. And even ultras are coming into the football now, and I know Palace have got their ultras.
Right.
But I see Arsenal now got ultras. I wonder if that's the way forward. They want to have ultras.
Don't know. I mean, I know that. I think obviously in this country, with obviously CCTV, the intelligence, the way everything is now with the forensics. Obviously, it's a lot harder now to be an active football hooligan and probably get away with it. But I know in Europe, it's still a massive problem. I mean, you know, a lot of
mate, it's a massive problem. Yeah. I've been away with West Ham and seen it. You know what I mean? Right. But they've got a different culture, and they've got a different mentality. See, the problem is you've got the Brits that travel in big numbers. Yeah. So, but you know, whether it be West Ham, whether it be Tottenham, whether it be, you know, we all laugh that, oh, you got done, you got this, but you've all got the same problem. The same problem is that when West Ham go abroad, or whoever it may be, they go and they all congregate and they all sing their songs, all put their flags up, and then a little group will get picked off. And then that little group being picked off represents the whole of your trip, because everybody's on that bit, oh, you got this, you got it. Even though 95% of you never saw anybody, right. Yeah? So the street code, their culture of casuals is, of ultras is, they will attack you the night before. Yeah? They will attack you the night before, and then the day they go, they're not interested. They're not interested at all. They don't even come anywhere near you. You know, I see the other day, and by the way, I think they've done amazing. I see Brighton go to Marseille. And, some of the they were young kids. They done amazing because they took them on at their own game. All that, they looked like young kids that could box and young kids that could do martial arts, and they done amazing. Right. But it's so different. It's the night before. So, a lot of these big firms from over this country don't go to them on the day. I've seen the way they get round, and then they go, oh, look, we're in their country. Go the night before like West Ham do. Go the night before like a lot of these teams do.
That's where the fun happens.
Yeah, and it's been an eye-opener. It's been an eye-opener. I've been to Croatia. I've been to Frankfurt. When we went, there was a walk in the bar. I didn't see really anything. And they're supposed to be. But when they come to you, 5,000 march up the road, of course it looks awesome. Right. You ain't going to fight. You're not going to stop 5,000. But they've got a totally different mentality. They want to be shown going to the game with big numbers, with flags, jumping up and down. That was never the football hooligans thing. It was always to engage in people's ends and a bit of combat. So, totally different mentality.
Someone actually said to me, and it did make me laugh. They're not a football fan, right? But they said, I don't understand why football hooligans do what they do because they're not getting paid for it. And if they get nicked, they're going to go to jail. Yeah. And do you think that's the buzz though?
Look, you've got to remember, people wasn't going to jail for football violence.
Right.
Back in the day, because no one would be out on the street. It was two gangs fault. Yeah. Now they want to make an example of you. Right. Yeah. You have to feel sorry for a couple of them, and they run with our local enemies in London. Yeah. And one of them probably will get put away or whatever. But when you look at what he actually does or what they actually do, there's people doing far more on the weekends over race, religion and colour. Got it. Yeah, and they're doing way more than some of the hooligans or people that, represent their teams. I've seen it. I wouldn't name them, but I can see one that's probably will cop a few years, and he's copped a few years before. Right. And if you look at what he done, stayed with his firm, that geezer will probably get 3 or 5 years. Wow. The geezers that have been doing the protests over the weekends and going to be doing it this week and whatever will get nothing. Right. And that's what happens when you're labelled as a football or football hooligan. Got it. So it's just literally you get that tag and that's it. You're gonna, if you do get nicked, you're gonna. There's no sort of mitigating circumstances. You can have a light sentence if you plead guilty. It's like you're going to jail. Okay. You're not getting your 200 quid. No, you're not getting past go. You're gone. But no, I think that's what's happened. Where all of a sudden the football hooligan is the easy bait. I can remember going on a march once, and I see from both sides. I see from the left and the right. If you march on this side, you're far right. I don't even know what that means. You're either right or left or in the middle. And if you're on this side, you're left, but you could be far left. Right. The police officers that were, if you like, looking after the left, white shirts, trousers, and a little truncheon. The people on the other side looking after the so-called football hooligans, they look like Robocop. Where they got these up from, I don't know. Send them out on the streets because this lot were like Robocops. These were special units brought in. But it's because it's football. Right. It's nothing to do with anything else. It doesn't matter whether it's EDL or whoever, EDF, the electric company or whatever. It don't make no difference. Are you part of the EDF as well? Yeah, I'm part of the electric board. I'm not no more. I'm to do with the other lot. But when you look at it now, you're football, you're a menace, you're trouble. You could be 60, 70, it doesn't matter how old you are. You're a football far right hooligan. So when you walk into football now, a little thing beeps up. Andy Swallow, far right football hooligan. Yeah, all the alarms start going off. I'm conservative. I'm just here. I'm watching the football. I'm not going to do anyone. But what makes you laugh with that is when it comes up. I'm not sure if I am them now, but I'm conservative. Right. I voted Conservative for many, many years. Quite weird, really. I vote Conservative, and Margaret Thatcher's trying to put me in prison, trying to stop me rave parties, and I still vote for her. So I'm on the right side of politics. Do you know what though? And I do think this, right? Because I grew up, obviously, with Thatcher, right? And, child of the 80s, whatever you want to call it. But I do think, what she did for the working classes was great because it allowed people that couldn't afford a house to get on the property ladder. Yeah. And I don't know, there was something about her. And she wouldn't take no nonsense. And at the time, I wasn't into politics. No, you're like me. Even now, I don't really understand it, right? But what I do understand is she was
hard, right? And she, like you said, she didn't take
Iron
the fucking
Lady.
shit.
She don't get an Iron Lady tag for. But I voted for her.
You wanted her next year at West Ham.
Yeah,
Come on, Maggie, let's do it.
Let's go, man. But I'm saying to you, it's the way that the football. We call him hooligan. Doesn't matter if you're an ultra hooligan. You know, he's proud to be an hooligan.
Right.
But as soon as it's football related, it's trouble. You're far right. You're this. You're that.
Right.
Hold on. Some of these far right hooligans you're talking about are black,
Right.
Asian. Well, what are they then? What are they? Are they just been coerced by the white English hooligans? It's just you get wrapped as football people get treated totally different on the street, in the courts than anybody else.
Wow.
Anybody else.
And obviously going.
I'm sorry for that because that's our fault.
No, yeah.
That's what we done back in the days.
But do you know something? Like you said, it was part of culture.
Yeah.
So obviously you're in the rave scene now. You're still doing the football stuff. You've had obviously your court cases, and then as you're going through, when did you actually decide to set up your own record label?
Well, I set my own record label up in 19. When I had my first record, 1990, when I was Centerforce Radio was no longer.
Right.
They took us off, and we went straight into the recording studio.
Right.
And made put our group together, New Class A, me, Keith Mack, and Danny's mum,
Right.
Michelle. We put our first group together. I took my other mates in who were the corporation. They went in, they made one side, and we made the other.
Right.
And we made a track, Feel the Rhythm. Made it, went straight up to Rain Dance to Richard and them.
Yeah.
And that we went on to see him Friday night. That next day we was up on stage with plastic keyboards at Rain Dance. Not miming. I think I was playing Careless Whisper, but I'm not. I think that's what come out on the tune.
Do you know what? I've got a great story relating to that. I met this guy, and it was probably about 7 or 8 years ago, and he was very wealthy. Yeah. And I said to him, I said, you know, I'm always fascinated about people who make money, right? Love to know what you did to make the money. And he went, if I tell you, he says, you ain't gonna believe it. And I said, well, what did you do? And he said, I made the Birdie song.
How about that?
I said, the fucking Birdie song. I said, how'd you even come up with this shit, right? And he goes, seriously? He goes, we were just fucking about in the studio. And we did this, like, did a little, whatever. Yeah. And he goes, and we just went, right, we'll publish it. And they put it out. And he said, within 3 weeks, he gets a phone call from Top of the Pops saying, have you got a video? You're number one. And he goes,
how's that, eh?
He goes, no video. No. Right, but he goes, but you know, but they go, you got to come on the show and play the, but you do a PA. So he said, we couldn't play the fucking keyboards like they just done it like that. And they dressed up as two birds.
Two birds, I remember it. Yeah, but you think of it though, when you look back, you know, you've got the Birdie song, which is probably one of the most classics of that. You know, my other one is Ernie the Milkman, you know, Ben Hill and that, you know. But when you think, but when you look at these tunes and things, you know, somebody, as you say, made it and made a fortune.
But I said to him, I said, what did you get out of that? And he said, 5 mil. And he said, I'm still getting like money every year. It's just like continuous. And he said, I've been trying to do the Birdie Tongue ever since.
I'm trying to play a keyboard. But listen, that's the right thing at the right time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm still trying.
I mean, I don't know if I want to have my name on the Birdie Song.
Listen, no, I like the 5 mil. The other firms called me the Birdman. How did I miss out on that one? I think I'd do it for copyright. Yeah.
That song was about me.
I still know it as well. That's the trouble. I still know it.
Well, we all do. I mean, it's one of them songs. I think they call it a worm, don't they? When it gets in your ear, and you just can't get it out of your head.
That's mad.
It's a bit like ABBA. Have you seen that Mamma Mia fucking film? But I've never really been into ABBA. And when I watched that film on the plane,
Dancing Queen,
I was standing there getting luggage, and I started going.
I'm like
Dancing Queen. I was like, no, I've got to get this out of me, and I've got to start thinking about something else.
So you went back to the Birdie song. I did, yeah. No, but they're all great. Listen, great songs. You know, Waterloo.
Yeah,
you know, you're probably going to me the Queen, but I like Queen.
No, Queen's good. Queen's good. Yeah,
I was talking about the Dancing Queen.
Oh, Dancing Queen.
Yeah, he's gone on the other. No, but you know when you look at them, you come up with Waterloo. You know, like Brotherhood of Man when you talk things of groups and you know, save all your kisses for me and things like. You think, where did that come from? But I remember being at school and talk about mad tracks. We used to sit. I was about must be about 14, 15. And there was a track called Tie the Yellow Ribbon and then the Oak Tree.
That's another one.
Yeah, we used to go there, you know. We used to go, I was doing my own, and I just go, it's number one again. But it was number one forever and a day. But, you know, them sort of tracks. Who writes it? What? Tie Yellow Ribbon and the old Oak Tree, eh? Who'd think of it?
And with your record label, obviously, you started off around that time, and then as you move forward, did you rename it La Bella Blanca, or was that?
No, I'll tell you what happened. We because we've been in the studio and made our own records. Grant Fleming, you know Grant. Yeah. He said, "Come on, let's make a." He'd just been doing stuff with Primal Scream and Creation. Alan McGee and that said, "Look, I'll show you how to do your own record label." Right. We made Cupido Disc. We put Feel the Rhythm and Can You Feel It on both sides. Yeah. From that, we set up our own label called White Label. We was called La Bella Blanco White Label. Because reason being, everyone a sticker, like a white sticker. Yeah. And everyone was putting out white labels, so we called it La Bella Blanco. Started drum and bass. Yeah. From that, we did an underground with James Mack, which was Public Demand Underground. Yeah. Which was US, which was Dave Morales, Bubba Morales, all them.
So Public Demand, that was that before La Bella Blanco?
That was after.
That was after.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, okay.
What happened was it was all like quick succession. We was in the studio. We made 56 records in the first year of La Bella Blanco, which is one a week plus a little bit extra. Yeah. You know, and we had so much stuff.
Jimmy was busy.
Get back in the studio. Plastic Jag was busy. And then, because we were in our own studio where Grant was doing all the production and, you know, Macca Brown, and, you know, there was some great stuff come out. Right. And then from that, we had, we got took into Pete Waterman, to Stockhagen Waterman. Pete took us in and tried to nurture us a bit, and that's where the Barnet Man come out with Mickey Finn, Some Justice, you know.
That was a good tune.
Yeah, great tune. And we were just crossing over from the Bella Blanco to that. We started, we worked with Shades of Rhythm, just trying to, and all of a sudden we formed Public Demand. And then we did two-step came in, which then obviously
that was another good, do you know what? It's funny, like the rave scene was great, but then obviously when the two-step come in, that
Gas Club, you know, I did Gas Club, didn't I? Yeah. Well, you done Pure
Garage
Nation.
So with the Gas Club, that's where I first met Dave Courtney.
Dave Courtney, at
the Gas Club, and that used to be your thing on a Sunday.
On my Sunday,
and I remember going in there, and it was like, I mean, for somebody who's never been, and it was like the fucking place on a Sunday. I know it's only small, but it was like the who's who.
Well, if you think of it, it was Spread Love with me and Dominic and them. And if you think back to them, everybody that had done their parties like Everton and all them from Sunday Roast, everybody would end up there. So you do your Friday night, Saturday, and everybody that was their night off. And it was you who was in that place.
And then after that, it was the Fog and Night going on the Arcade.
Well, they took it away from but it was. And then it was really weird. One day we was like, for 2 years, 2.5 years, we was the place.
Yeah, it was good.
And then one day, it just gone to somewhere else. Like I think EC1 opened up, or
I think they did.
Something like that. Something moved. The movement just went from that to that. You know,
if I was in London, I'd that was like on a Sunday night, you're going to the Gas Club.
Yeah, Gas Club.
And
all your things. Matt Jam Ramon, Norris the Boss.
He was great. And Creed.
You know, Creed. Even had Nigel Benn. Yeah, it was good if he took his boxing gloves off. You know, no, but listen, he was a DJ, good DJ, come and DJ'd as well. Yeah. You know, your Seekers, your Hermits, Daryl Bede, Flighty. You know, some great DJs come through there.
Yeah, amazing.
You know,
amazing. I mean, Hermit was the man, wasn't he? He was,
even down to, you know, Jason Kay, Top Buzz.
Yeah.
You know, all of them.
It's mad, isn't it? Like, you know, we're talking now about the good old days, and obviously Dave Courtney, obviously no longer with us.
No.
Jason Kay, no longer with us. And, you know, they were two sort of big sort of characters in that scene, weren't they?
Well, it's quite weird with Dave. You know, we were talking about Dave earlier. I met Dave when we had the fitness centre on Southwark Bridge.
Right.
We took it over. It was the old Shum, which was the...
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so we took it over from Shum. And Dave was there. He had his old green army truck thing, and the two sisters, the two twins, Jenny and sister.
Yeah.
So I know Dave from then. And then over the years, I knew him from partying out, etc., etc. Sad what happened at the end. Don't know the full story, but, you know, he was a colourful character. Yeah. Some like him, some don't. Yeah. I understand that.
You know what? I think if you're in that scene, I think what made the rave scene or the club scene or the garage scene, whatever you want to call it, all scenes, because we've all gone through all
all.
scenes. Yeah. The characters are what make it, right?
Yeah, characters. Yeah. I think Dave came to my last thing. I'll tell you what. Party in the park. He just turned up. All right, Andy, where you just turned up from? I was in 30 years. Whichever happened, Dave was always going to be sad.
Yeah.
On that side of it. But as I say, as a character, he was as large as life in that scene. He come all the way through on the long journey from 88 all the way through.
Well, he was doing a lot of doors and security work then, and I know he was having a few unlicensed fights on the old Kent Road.
That's when he had his nose bit. You know when he talks about when he got his nose bit.
Because when I met him, obviously that was a prominent feature that he had his nose bitten off.
Well, he asked me, I think, obviously, I'm talking many years ago, he asked me to come and watch him fight. I think he fought on a Sunday and we had the club that on the Saturday night. He said, I've got a fight.
Where was it? On the old Kent Road? It was a pub, wasn't it?
It was a pub. It went down, mate. You're talking, going to watch him. Anybody who could, listen, anybody, everyone talks about hooligan, everyone talks about fighting. Brilliant. Yeah, okay. You go one-on-one in a bare knuckle or in a boxing ring, that takes a lot of balls.
Yeah.
So whether they say he could fight, he could do this, he's done it. A lot of people who say...
And bare knuckle as well, that's a different
It's a different ball game, mate. Listen, whether you say he can fight, he couldn't fight, mate, that man stood and had them fights. Hats off to him for that.
Yeah. And when he actually had his nose bitten off...
Yeah.
Did he win that fight or not? I can't remember.
I think he said something about I remember, because I remember seeing some... From my recollection of it, I think he was losing it because he turned his back or something and his head on the floor. Because it's a long while ago, but I remember seeing, and I remember looking at a podcast when he described it all.
Right.
Which is a slightly different recollection to what I had.
Yeah.
But, when he said the pain he felt was phenomenal.
When you bite, if somebody bites your ears or your nose off, it does hurt. They are sensitive areas.
I think they definitely. Yeah, but as you say, to go in and do that.
Yeah. I don't even know if he did it for money. I think it was just literally we'll have a straightener, let's go down the fucking...
Because he did a lot of stuff for Leslie Graham and that in the early days. I think he looked after Leslie Graham from Dirty Den.
Right.
I think he was driving Dave Den around, because I remember him coming to a couple of events back in the day, yeah. But as I say, it's one of them said...
Yeah, it's another character that's gone, a few people that were close to him said... he was crippled with some sort of arthritis or rheumatism or whatever. Someone said he had, he either had cancer or he was recovering from cancer. Yeah. And, I think...
Probably had a lot of troubles that you didn't know.
Yeah, and at 64, if you're in that space, and somebody I know really well actually said, look, he had his reason for doing it if he did it, and you used to have to respect that. If that's how he wanted to go out, so...
You all, as I say... like him, hate him, whichever. You all have your own things. Never done me no wrong. Yeah. And I can only talk about him from my experiences from back in the day, and Jenny, and I still see Jenny in it now. Yeah. So my memories are slightly different.
Right.
And other people have got their story as well. And I'd never sort of say that they're wrong for having their opinions as well, because, as you know, out there's always going to be two sides.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
But, another character gone.
Yeah. And R.I.P. Dave, R.I.P. Jason.
Yeah, massively.
But when you went on from there, like your big hit really that put
Rewind
was that, wasn't it? I mean, Rewind, Craig David.
Craig David. Nearly killed in that lemon gazer, yeah. But
do you know what though? Right, I mean, I never actually thought any of that was funny. All that
no,
Craig David, but it
killed his career.
Craig David was funny, but actually walking around with that silly mask on doing it was stupid. But
no, that was Craig's face.
I think it probably helped.
I was obviously about Craig,
but it helped keep people would see that and buy the record. Hopefully,
do you know what? It actually nearly killed his career.
Really?
Yeah. That sort of killed off quite a lot of Craig at that time. Because I think Craig went off to America to reinvent himself
Because that time when you did Rewind, I remember that tune. It was like such a big track. And I'm pretty sure we booked him through you for PA at one of the Garage Nation things.
Yeah.
Early
days.
And I remember we did that album. Was it 7 Days?
What's it called? All About Stragglers, isn't it?
Yeah, but it was a massive hit. And then obviously that Keith Lemon character was doing all that stuff. And then I don't know what happened. I don't know if he did another album and it didn't quite work
He went
out.
off to America, didn't he? Done some stuff with Sting and things like that.
But I never knew he DJ'd. But he's actually like meant to be a
MC
really good DJ.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's quite weird with Craig because we signed the track before called "What You Gonna Do," which is, and if you listen to the lyrics, it's a bit of a mixed up record between
Are you
Rewind.
going to sing it to us, hand or not?
No, I'll do my hands instead. And then we signed "What You Gonna Rewind," took it to Telstar, took it to Round. And they come back and said, love the record, but you've got to take the rewind out. You want to take it out.
That's the best bit.
Come on, Jim, fuck's sake, I said, mate, no, just leave it in. If more, put more of it. And then it blew up. But Craig, I don't know if we sort of fell out with Craig. At the time we was doing it, Telstar was taking him away from the garage scene. They wanted to take him R&B when Fill Me In was coming out.
Got it.
So we were launching Rewind because it takes that long to launch a record.
Yeah.
He'd gone off the scene and he's now doing Can You Fill Me In and 7 Days and all that old stuff. So what basically for us, we've got this track that's got a bit like you said, it's gone straight in at number 2. We want a video.
Right.
So we got the Gas Club.
Yeah.
We go to the Gas Club. We've got some geezer in a gas mask being I love geezer touching his leg. But when you watch the video, there's a geezer in a gas mask being dragged through the gas, the Gas Club on some wheelie thing. And the geezer touching his shoe doing the old skip to me Lou thing. Right. We never had no one. We never had Craig. Craig wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it.
Because when
wasn't allowed to do it.
It was mad because was Artful Dodger, did he produce that with Craig?
Yeah, so you had Pete and Mark that were the producers. You had Mark that was the producer, Pete that was the DJ. You had Alistair that was the MC, and then you had Craig who was the singer. So you had Artful Dodger featuring Craig David. And they just wouldn't do it. Just wouldn't do it. So we had to at that time. So what we done? We got got a little bit of Pete in, a bit of look like DJing and whatever. And some geezer, I don't even know why the geezer had a mask on, but still can't get that bit. But contacted Craig and said, listen, we've got number 2. He's come straight away. Hold on, we've got their record coming out next. Bob, got to put them in there. Right. And he come and done Top of the Pops.
Oh, amazing. So
he did Top of the Pops. He did all the Top of the Pops shows. Then started doing all the shows. Then all of a sudden, Artful Dodger had Ramina Johnson Moving Too Fast.
That's great.
Craig had Fill Me In, and I think they went number 1 and number 2.
Wow.
So you had number 2. We was number 2 between 2 and 5 for 13 weeks.
I mean, I can't believe, right, that Craig David, right, didn't actually go, wow, we've hit something here. Because he could have been the king of garage, couldn't he? And then he could have gone into that thing maybe a year, 2 years later,
Do you know what? I think it was all about. I think it was all about that they'd found this R&B singer that we could now resell. It's a bit like trying to sell snow to the sand to the Arabs. You know what I mean? Right. You was trying to take this man and make him into America. Well, they've got how many singers have they got? Every man on the corner is a singer in America. Right. And I think maybe he was massive. He became massive. Whichever route they took him, he was the one that made it from our scene.
Right.
If that makes sense.
He was the first
you could
one.
argue like Architects and all them, they all done their part.
But he was the guy who was the catalyst, wasn't he?
He was the one that crossed over.
Everyone's like, what is this garage shit?
Yeah, I like that. But no, you look at it, it took it to mainstream.
Yeah.
And brilliant.
I mean, I when we, because obviously when we started doing drum and bass in '93, I remember, I think he was there as well. There was Tommy Mack did the black and white book, the Royal Albert Hall.
Yeah. Yes.
And great night. I can't remember what it was. Yeah. I remember being in there and I remember bumping into Jay. And at the time, he used to play Top Buzz set.
Yeah, Top Buzz set.
In our second room, and in our third room, he'd play Garage.
Garage,
right?
yeah.
And he went, he goes, got to get on the Garage, mate. We've got to do Garage. We've got to do Garage.
That's where yeah.
And then I said, well, we could be lazy and just do Garage Nation.
Yeah. But how big was that?
It was, I mean, it did go nuts. I mean, for me, what I loved was the fact that you had all these different nights up and down the country. And obviously for someone like you who's got a record label, and for the DJs, when they have the white labels, they could literally go out and they could like literally play a track and then everybody would hear it in a club and go, what is that fucking track? I want that track. And then the tape packs would come out and then people would buy a tape pack and then they go, What's that track?
Tape packs.
Yeah.
You remember the tape packs?
I do remember it well.
It was all
But
about
do you know
the
something?
fucking demand stuff.
Brilliant. I genuinely think, though, you should have been paying us.
Probably.
Not paying you.
Yeah, probably. But no, do you know what's funny? Remember, if you look back at the time, because you cracked it. I love it when you was dipping your toes into the music yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and what a great idea was it with the packs that you were doing.
Well, do you know something? How it all came about was I followed like what all the other promoters were doing, and obviously back in the day, I think, and I'm talking about the mid '90s, right, probably to the early 2000s. At that time, most of the music people were playing was obviously white labels.
White label, yeah,
and
all of it.
And obviously back in the day, for people that don't know, this is how it used to work. There'd be record shops. There'd be probably 200 record shops up and down the country.
Yeah.
And they would sell tickets, they'd sell tape packs, they'd sell
the whole lot of the
packs,
scene,
merchandise, everything.
The whole scene.
And it was like what kept it alive, really.
Yeah. And kept the shops alive.
And people would come in and go, get me this fucking track. And they're going, oh, that's Artful Dodger's white label from La Bella Banco. Oh, when's it coming out? And I think then it was easy to blow things up. But I think the difficult thing was obviously as the violence escalated, they started shutting all the fucking clubs down, and then obviously you didn't have as many clubs, so then it was a lot harder to break music. I mean, for you as a record label owner, what did you see? And with it, did you sort of see it?
Do you know what? I walked out the record music scene. I walked out, just lost my love for music. Just got too dark,
right?
Too undergroundy, too violent, too coming out of a football violent thing.
I can't believe you actually said that it was too violent.
Just coming out because you've come out of something that was full of violence,
right?
Coming into a scene that was full of love.
It was amazing,
and then you've come into a scene, and that's probably what killed the garage, the drum and bass, the thing. It just got too moody, too underground, too. Maybe the drug culture changed from ease to crack to to Charlie. Maybe I think, where cocaine came in, smack came in, the whole scene became a bit more about clothing. People, you trod on their feet, you ruined their shoes, which was nice. I like your shoes as well.
Thank you. I like yours.
Yeah, they're a little bit different, like they're floating. But you know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, you spill a drink on someone's £300 shirt and he wants to fight you, where before the geezer had a $2.99 t-shirt and it was soaking wet. I think the mentality changed. And I just walked away from music. I just walked away. Jimmy, I said, Jimmy, you can have it. I'm changing direction. I just walked off. Walked out the scene completely, left it.
When was that? Was that?
It's got to have been round about, Danny was about 15 years old. Yeah, 15 years plus ago. Just walked away.
Do you know what's really funny, right?
Just walked away from the scene.
I reckon we come out at the same time.
Do you reckon?
Because the last year of putting events on, I used to obviously have security people looking after me. I had the tack dogs. We all had bulletproof vests. It all was like fucking like.
What is all this about? Yeah.
Well, it went from being fun to like, are we going to get shot tonight?
Yeah. No, but 1,000,000%. Or am I going to go out with with your missus and you're going to end up with a full fight?
Right.
If I'm going to do that, I might as well go out with my mates.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? And it became culture. It became gangs again. And I didn't like the music. The music was too heavy, too dark.
But the last year, I was right at the top, and I thought, you know what? If I'm going to sell, now's the time to get out.
Yeah,
right?
brilliant.
And I think it was 2003. February 2003 was when I did my last event. Yeah, and I think I did. That was One Nation. I think Gary's Nation was in March. So that was the year when I went, I'm out.
I'm gone.
And I tell you what, for a year, I was like, the phone's not ringing. I felt like a weight had been taken on my shoulders. Yeah. I've started to be out of sleep at night.
Took the vest off, quiet.
I'm not looking around. I'm not checking the wing mirrors as much.
The thing with it is a shame because from something that we took that was so innocent, become so gangy, so people to take you off the top of what you was doing. Yeah. And I'm not saying no one ever driven me out. Not that. My choice was I don't like this anymore.
I think the problem is though, and
the music I didn't like.
It doesn't really matter, whether you can have a row, whether you're connected, whatever. The fact is, I think when I sold my business, I was 30. What was I? 30. Yeah, I was like 30, 31. Right. So I was like young enough to go into something else.
Yeah.
But I'd had enough.
Yeah,
and
enough.
I met my missus.
Yeah.
She was having a baby, and I was thinking, do I really want to fucking be doing this shit? Rolling around on the fucking streets with people outside nightclubs in East London or in Brixton or whatever,
listen, but
and worrying that someone's going to target you. And there was a lot of Pete from La Costa Nostra, another one, R.I.P.
Same again, yeah.
Someone stabbed him to death outside a nightclub. He's giving flies out.
Yeah.
You sort of think, you could be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and you can't always be switched on. So there's always going to be an opportunity.
Look, you come from a thing. My mum always said to me, "There's always someone better than you." And there's always, and she always said to me, "If you end up with 5 mates you can count on one hand, you've done well."
That is true.
What true statements they are. Yeah, it's true friends. Yeah, we've all got friends, all got associates, and I just think, in that mind that there's always someone better than you, always someone wants you do. If you do well, you can do well. People go, "Oh, for me, brilliant, you've done well." But as they walk away, that jealousy burns with them. Yeah, and even your own people turn on you. Yeah, but without you knowing. But nowadays,
and that's heartbreaking, isn't it, when that happens? Because you actually think, I actually thought that person was
especially
fucking
where you come from
decent.
with us, you give your life into the football. You've given your liberty for football. You've given everything. You've put yourself on offer time and time again. And then behind their back, they've got their little sniggers of this and that. But they won't come and say it to you. That's the main thing of the hurt is they don't say it to you, but they say it to them over there. But now I think people have caught on to all that, and it goes back round again.
But that's what I've always loved about you, and you've always been fucking like straight up. If you've got something to say, you say it.
And that's what people don't like.
Yeah. But I love that.
And yes, I am controversial. Yes, sometimes I am too outspoken. I get that, and I do get that. I suppose I can be like, Marmite, you like me, you don't like me. Yeah, I get that. But I was brought up with old school morals.
Right.
Yeah. And I think if you can keep to them, and there's always someone better than you out there.
Right.
Yeah. Remember that. I think if you take that into something that you can. I only ever do, as I said, I don't do podcasts. I don't do that, and I don't knock people for doing podcasts. I don't think people want to listen to the same old shit time and time again.
Right.
Yeah. As I said to you, if we're going to talk about football violence, who's the best firm, who's the best, not interested.
Who's the hardest man in London?
Me. Definitely not me, because there's always someone better than you. So I'm taking that back. Definitely not me. Please.
But the other, obviously from the old inner city firm days, all the guys have gone off and doing whatever they're doing. I know Danny Harrison's in Marbella.
Yeah, Danny's away.
I see him in the summer actually.
I see him in Prague.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah,
and,
he look well.
Who was a guy? I've forgotten his name. We were talking about him earlier. And you said he was in prison.
Yeah, the classic story is
even if you don't know me, it's just a funny story. It's a great story.
Because I was with him today, and there's a famous story that he got put away for helping someone escape, and then he's away with the IRA, and it becomes a funny point where they're escaping and whatever, and they're shouting out IRA and he's shouting out Army ICF, and it's a brilliant moment because I love him to do the film, where they're shouting out IRA and he's shouting out ICF, but he's that character that he is that one, and he would do. I've said to him today, you would do the most amazing story.
Right.
But I get why he doesn't, and I get why he wants to be thing because your family, your kid. I get that, but as a character. This person is a character too. At the heat of the moment, he's shouting out ICF. But yeah, if you could ever get the person to do, he's the real deal.
Do you know something?
He's the real deal.
You can say to him, just do it under a pseudonym. So it's about him, but it ain't about him. And then that way he can say everything. And if you know, you know. But if you don't know,
he's brilliant. Yeah, he made me laugh today because it gives me. This is a typical him. It gives me his record that he was in a band. So we're doing it about bands today. So here I am about his band. I'm going to talk. I ain't talking. I've got you the record. So how do I do the interview then? Well, I ain't in it. Turn the cameras off.
So you just had to talk to the record. I'm interviewing you.
But that is just. But if you know him, you know that's so much. Yeah, I'll set the tour. I'll sit here for 3 hours.
But please share the story where after that moment when he said to the RA guy, I'm going to be back for you. Remember you said, and then he actually he come back in a helicopter.
Oh no!
Because this story is so good. I mean, we've got to share it. It's so good.
It's an old. I'm not sure what parts I can tell because it's well documented. I tell you, it's a well documented thing where one of our lot is inside and he gets let free and he says, "I'm going to come back for you," and he comes back and gets him from the courtyard of the prison, and it is a well documented thing.
And he was in a helicopter, wasn't he?
Allegedly, he was in an helicopter.
I mean, it's just mad, though, isn't it? To think,
allegedly, but
and I've got a theory. I actually think that Arnold Schwarzenegger fucking saw this and he got, I'll be back. I'm having that.
And he actually does come back for him. So,
But that guy must have been shocked. Like, he's in the courtyard and he is the fucking helicopter. He looks up and the guy's
allegedly
going, I told you I'll be back.
And he can't drive it as well. Allegedly was in an helicopter. But
it's a great story. But if it's documented, it's out there. So
no, it's out there. Listen, mate, he is out there. And as I said to unless he would actually sit there and do his thing,
got it.
Which I think one day he may.
Yeah.
But if you could ever get him, he's brilliant. He made me laugh. Just today, just seeing him today was I'll be back.
I'll be back.
I'll be back. Yeah.
And then obviously you're out of the music. You're still going to football, but obviously you're not doing the hooligan stuff anymore. What did you? Because obviously Centerforce has really taken off, hasn't it?
Yeah. Look,
How did that come back? So I know back in the day it was a pirate.
I'll tell you,
but.
Well, it's quite mad, really. I was, it was 5 years now, 6 years ago, I was invited by Daniel Bunter and Dougsy and them to come along and do at the aquarium.
Lou's place, another guy,
same again. Come and do a talk about radio. Right. And I was up there, they're all on their, all the different radio stations, the FMs. I know I'm going to forget them in a minute. The one that does, the big drum and bass one, or the big...
it's not Flex, is it?
Is it Flex? The Flex was there. There was who was the other one with
Cool FM?
Cool FM, and we've got the big man,
Eastman.
Yes, so they're all on the stage. I'm there talking about Centerforce. Got a crowd asking us questions about Centerforce Radio, and they're saying, "Oh, there's this thing called DAB. It's cheap." Da, 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 da. So I thought, "Oh, hold on." So I comes off of there. I then goes to Ibiza. I go to Clockwork Orange.
Right.
And I see what
Danny's great, isn't he? I love Danny.
Phenomenon they've done. Clockwork Orange, wow.
Amazing.
And I thought, I'm going to do this. I rang up Danny. I said, my son, we're going to come back. We come on Facebook.
Right.
I kept getting cut off. I went to Turkey and I phoned up and said to Danny and John, let's go DAB.
Right.
Let's go DAB. By the way, it ain't 20 grand like they said, Eastman and all them. I don't know where they got that from. So anyway, we looked into it and my son said, look, I've got a sponsor. We're going to do it. And we came on as DAB.
I actually went up to, because they're mutual friends up that way.
Yeah.
And I was up there and he said, we'll go and see Danny, Andy's boy. And I actually went into the Centerforce HQ and it was great.
There.
I thought it was an amazing building.
Is, 8-9 million listeners a month,
Amazing.
Absolute phenomenal.
Well, because Peasy said he was playing on it as well. So you got all the boys, Brandon.
Everyone. Yeah. Do you know what was good? It's like, if you talk about advertising, if you try to get a radio station up and running, you'd have to have a marketing budget of probably 200-300 grand. Yeah.
Right.
We spent 80 quid on Facebook ads to get where we are today.
It's amazing.
And it's phenomenal. And the amount of people.
It's the best 80 quid you ever spent.
No. There's a story to this. We never paid Johnny C for it, so we actually never paid anything. He paid 80 quid.
Thanks, Johnny.
And I'm not actually saying I still owe you the 80 quid, but we didn't actually pay it. Johnny did. So,
right.
But to think this is a natural growth of right time, right thing. The one thing about Centerforce Radio, we've got the authenticity.
Absolutely.
We was there.
Been there, seen it, done it. Got the Centerforce t-shirt.
On the courtesy of Mickey Moore. Got the Centerforce and the Public Demand logo.
Amazing.
But when you look at it, the music scene was... Look, when Kiss FM done it, it was about timing. Absolutely. The scene was evolving. They come on and they become Kiss FM. It's a bit like us with Centerforce Radio. Down the line, for 6 years down the line on DAB, growing and growing and growing. And my son to do a massive... Listen, he's 27, 28 years old.
Yeah.
To take on a job like that for the last 6 years and have me in his ear roll.
Right.
That's massive. It's massive. And
are you a demanding dad or a demanding boss?
I'm not even on the thing. I got.
Because I see you DJing on there, and I saw you doing a little set.
Me and Mickey Moore's got a show. We've got a couple of shows. I'm not saying the biggest, but they're very big.
Yeah, brilliant.
But how about this? When it goes to job titles, I see Darren, head of marketing, Peasy, head of this. But I got honourable member. I thought that's when you're dead, isn't it? I remember for people that die, isn't it? So I said, what's my job? Oh, you're the overseas branch.
I want to be the fucking CEO.
Yeah, so you know what I've done, didn't you? Got my own back. I set up Centerforce Canarias.
Right, okay.
Set up my own radio station in Centerforce in the Canaries. I can be in charge there. They can't tell me. Yeah, I thought that was a bit of a thing. Yeah, but in all, the family of the Centerforce family, the likes of yourselves and all, everybody can listen to the Centerforce and have a part of it, of the history. And that's why it's growing phenomenally, and all the DJs do such good jobs.
Amazing. And what are you doing in Tenerife now, Andy? You doing stuff over there as well?
Yeah, I went to retire there.
You're too fucking young to retire.
I didn't mean so much as retire, but I couldn't earn my money in England.
Right.
I come from the street, and the clubs, the scenes, the street scene that I was doing, there was nothing there anymore.
Right.
So me and my missus and my little girl, we decided we was going to go to Tenerife. We already had a bar there, and we was about to take over another bar there at the time. Right. From that evolved that we ended up opening up another one with Centerforce Radio, where we've got our own bar where you can come and listen to the shows.
You're the Phil Mitchell of Tenerife, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah. So then we ended up, we've got the radio station there now.
Right.
So yeah, things are evolved. Look, it's an easier way of life. It's a different way of life. It's an easier way of life.
I've never been. I've been to Tenerife like years ago, but I take it it's 365 sun. It's great climate all year round, right?
But you have different sort of problems to face. But the good thing over there is we're a smaller community, if you like. Right. So it's bitchy. That's the same as but you wake up in the morning, the sunshine, you put your shorts on, put your t-shirt, you go to work. Right. Over here, do you wear a coat? Do you put your thing? Do you, like Mickey said to me a day, I've got you a sweatshirt, I've got you a t-shirt, I've got you an hat. And I was only going to the cafe across the road. Over there, your t-shirt, your things, and you're gone. You can go to a... It's just so much more relaxed way of life. And which is good. And also I think that helped Danny breathe with the Centerforce. Yeah, maybe if I'd have been here, it may not have grown as it was, because I was pretty much, it's got to be old school, it's got to be this, it's got to be that. And I think he opened up the boundaries to new music, do it. So maybe Centerforce wouldn't have grown as big if I'd have been running it.
It's amazing. You got just under 10 million people listening to it. I mean, that's an amazing feat.
Phenomenal. Yeah. When people look at us and see our stats, they're like, you've made them up. We can't make up them stats because they come from Facebook. They come from
it's what is it? 88.3 Centerforce.
Gotcha.
Make sure you tune in. And is that the same in Tenerife, or is that a different?
Yeah, no. In Centerforce we're 89.1.
Right,
but we're on the FM dial on that.
Right. Okay.
So we're actually Centerforce Canarias.
Yeah.
But we're still linked to. We play all the shows come through. We've got our own shows there as well.
Amazing.
But we do it so that our shows are done. Mickey comes over. Right. He does his show with us. So if you come to Tenerife, you can do your shows overlooking the sea.
Amazing.
Wicked,
Where did it all go wrong?
I've done this podcast. The geezer pulls up on a motorbike. It's all gone with. You, Terry? No, I'm the other one. I'm the other one in the interview. No, I'm not him.
What's for the future then?
For the future, obviously extending Centerforce Radio. Yeah. That's the big priority now.
Amazing.
Got some investors came in. We're going to push up to Birmingham, to going down to Wales, across to Swindon. So the idea is to spread the DAB network. Yeah. We're setting up the new station now. We've got 40 odd new DJs coming on.
Amazing.
With Trevor and them, we're doing a documentary film about my lifestyle. It's got a running thing at the moment of The Underdog.
But you're going to change it to Big Dog.
Yes, Mickey, we said Big Dog. So Mickey looked at me there when I said dog. I did dog. So we're looking at doing that. I know he's looking for Netflix and filming. Terry, is you doing on your own films? Yeah. Not as easy getting films away, but this is a film about culture, street culture, music. Yeah. Hence why I came here today. Yeah. It was a 50-50 exchange. I did views. We're going to interview you.
Yeah, so
we're going to be in that seat next time.
I'm absolutely, mate.
So
absolutely.
that'll be a pleasure.
And we're not. We're really honoured to have you on the show. I'm honoured to be in your movie, Andy, and we've had a good 4 or 5 decades.
Yeah, I'll see you there for another 20 years. No, but listen, thank you for having me on.
No, thanks for coming.
Everybody as well, you know, a lot of it is on my own opinions, and I'll say about the football, it's my opinions, and I do understand, and you know, other people got other opinions. Yeah. Thank you for having us on. Thank you for our kind gentleman over on the right hand side.
Yes.
And thank you for Mickey for the t-shirts.
Yeah, Cheers. Mickey, thank you. I hope you got one extra large for me. Just before we go, the other thing I wanted to say is, if you've got anything that you would tell your younger self that you've learned over the last 30 years, what would it be?
I'll tell you what I'll tell you what would probably be more, not tell people what to do, but more of a thing. Be true to yourself. Yeah. Don't let people tell you can't do. Yeah. And watch your back.
Yeah.
Because those
and don't trust anyone. They're not your friends.
And if they say don't, they are. No, I just think follow your dreams.
Yeah.
And be true to what you do. And if you walk away from there and you believe you've done the right thing, stick with it, because you can make it work.
Amazing.
That's it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Andy, thank you so much for coming on. Thanks for tuning in to the Criminal Connection podcast. Andy Swallow, what a guest, what a legend. Never done a podcast before, and he's only done one exclusively because I've agreed to do his film exclusively. I think you call it a fair trade. But make sure you tune in next week. We've got another great guest. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, and tell all your friends about the Criminal Connection podcast.